So our mission is to make it as easy to optimize physical processes as we do digital ones. And to put it another way, a physical process can be an R&D process, a manufacturing process, a supply chain shipping process, or even consumers and users using your product. But when something happens in the physical world, all the steps that go into a particular process are not actually tracked. And so when something goes wrong, it's really hard and really time-consuming to find the root cause of that problem. As opposed to a digital process, aka software. When something goes wrong with a virtual process, a piece of software, there are tools like debuggers that allow you to go through and find out what's going wrong. And so we took this approach and said, well, why don't we digitize the physical world so that we can actually build products and tools that allow people to debug and optimize physical processes the way that computer scientists do digital processes. So at a very high level, what does any company pretty much have to do? They have to make stuff. That's R&D, manufacturing product. They need to ship their product. That includes supply chain, transportation, warehousing, storage, and all that. And finally, if you're lucky enough, you can actually get some insight into the end user using the product. And that could be things like how do they store it, how often do they use it. A good example is medication. My first 10 years of my career, I was in the diabetes space, and people use insulin. They store it in the fridge. If you store it properly, then guess what? It's not as effective. So, simple thing is, how do you easily measure and infer what's happening in a physical process? Because it's really hard to measure everything all the time. And just to give you a little bit of background, myself and my partner, this is our third company together. Our first company was a medical device company. We made glucometers and glucose sensors, and we white label an OEM to CVS, so the CVS branded glucometer, or the pharmacy brand, so on and so forth, made by my first company. The problem we had was there was a ton of wastage in yield because we'd make products in the Far East and 20% we'd have to throw out. And then once they get shipped over, then eventually some of it actually worked and some of it didn't. And we couldn't figure out what was happening. So we overcame that by putting sensors everywhere in the factory. And guess what? Temperature and humidity accounted for most of the variability. And with a little bit of sensors sprinkled around and with a little bit of correlation, dashboards and visualizations, we were able to get our yields up from about 80% to 99.7% when I left the company about 10 years ago. Then in 2011, my partner and I started Misfit Wearables. Eventually we ended up making fitness trackers, and we sold that company to Fossil. And in that process, we realized, oh my God, we have about 1 million people using our product around the world. So why don't we just, we created a globally distributed sensor network kind of for free. So Machines really grew out of that idea that we can use new tech to monitor and digitize the physical world. So very quickly, what we do is we have devices. We make physical devices with sensors. We have streaming to the dashboard. And we can use it to build smart buildings. So it can be mapping smart manufacturing lines, so measuring, aggregating data, so on and so forth. Automating some of the compliance work, just pulling data, writing reports, and really understanding root cause. Things like, can we do heat maps? 90 seconds from unboxing to data streaming to the cloud. That's what our hardware and cloud vertical stack allows us to do. And probably the most interesting thing is that we've actually miniaturized that into small, flexible sensors that we can actually put into packaging. And so one of the reasons we're here is to talk about, if anyone's interested in working with us on some pilots. So this, again, digitizes the physical world. You can put sensors on everything. And summary, we've done this a couple times before. We've got some industry leaders. PerkinElmer just did a global distribution deal with us. So we're white labeling our product through them. And we'd love to talk to anyone who's interested.
All right, thank you, Sri. Round of applause, please. And we have time for 2 questions. Darren.
So how is your business model different from the previous business model you're implementing?
Sure. So one of the things that we do is we really focus on the continuity. So because we actually put sensors into the physical factory, physical plant, we can actually do continuity of production batches of data from the start of production all the way through to the end user if we can get that data. The other is actually we're sensor agnostic. So we also have another black box that plugs into machines and pulls data out. So we're really focused on that continuity, and all of our software is designed to be plug and play. So literally 90 seconds from out of the box, customer gets data into their streaming cloud, and then on top of that we have we work with individual build machine learning sort of models that really optimize build process.
Great, Robbie?
Quick question, to use GXP part that
Yep.
you talked about in compliance reports.
Sure. So, for example, we're 21 CFR Part 11 compliant. That's a non-starter if we don't have it. We actually have a quality system in place, and so without that in place, a lot of our customers can't use our products. And we're working towards ISO 9001 later this year. And on top of that, all of our hardware is calibrated to NIST traceable references and field calibratable by folks who are in validated systems and hardware validated processes. So we're very well versed in regulated environments.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.